All right, my fellow Gators, let's talk some ball. Got Vanderbilt in the rearview mirror. South Carolina coming up. Nice win over Vandy. Um, I was looking for, I'm not one to do the transitive property with games, but I was in this one to kind of see where we stacked up with other teams.
In a quarter mile, turn right
Performance
onto Howell Pit Road.
against Vanderbilt. One of the things that I noticed that was, a good sign, although it was a home game for Florida, again, we're putrid on the road, really good at home, or better at home with our home crowd. The noise definitely affected Vandy. Definitely helped us get the W in this game
Take
for
the next
sure.
right onto Howell Pit Road.
Florida seems to come out with more energy at home. Really going to be interesting to see if the
Continue
guys
on Howell Pit
fire.
Road.
Come out with that fire this weekend in South Carolina. Tough place to play. Gets really loud there. Florida has not done well on the road. They have complained about the crowd noise at Kentucky and Utah, which are small stadiums that are not loud. Lame excuse if you ask me. You should be fired up to play in every game, especially an SEC game. They came out flat at Kentucky. That is the mindset and the attitude and energy of the head coach projected onto his team. So they've got to get things figured out. This is a put up or shut up, prove it road game right here. Florida matches up well, the more talented team, top to bottom on both sides of the ball. Rattler is no joke. He is a gamer. They do have talent at receiver. They are terrible running the ball, which I think bodes well for Florida. If we can get some pressure and just keep Rattler contained, I like Florida in this game. If it was at home, being on the road, I'm not picking Florida. Y'all saw my prediction video. I think it's going to be a very close game, nail biter down to the end, one score game. But until Florida can prove it and get the job done against a quality opponent, I know everybody thinks South Carolina's bad. They are really not. They can put up points. They played Georgia tough. They've had a tough schedule just like us. They did, like I said, they played Georgia. They played some good SEC competition. So, South Carolina is not a bad football team. Their record
In 800 feet, your
does not reflect the overall talent and skill level of this team. Beamer is a quality coach. He is going to have some tricks up his sleeve on special teams, especially at home. So look for a trick play or a special teams play. They will put up some points on Florida, I believe. They'll get two, three touchdowns, possibly a field goal. They are explosive on offense. Florida is not good against explosive plays on defense, but we are a solid, four down defense. We will get off the field. I do like our defense in this one. I do think we will hold them to, less than, like I said, less than probably 21. Well, probably around that 21 range. I could see them scoring three touchdowns at home. But they won't get over 30 points on Florida's defense. Um, you know, so it's gonna come down to that. The defense has got to get a turnover in this game. They've got to get a fumble, pick, and get momentum. That's going to be one of my keys of the game. Is at least one turnover for Florida that goes our way. We've been putrid with turnovers. We just haven't seemed to be able to fall on the ball at the right time. I mean, we're causing them. We're just not catching them. We've dropped interceptions. So it's time to change that trend. Love this defense. Told you guys the Kentucky game was an anomaly. I have not lost faith in them. I've been right on the defense. Offense, there was some progression in the passing game. There were guys open, and Mertz is holding the ball way too long. His cartoonish completion percentage is not realistic. He's throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Completing short passes. There's just zero downfield passing game. That's going to have to change this weekend. Florida will not win this game with the strategy they employed against Vanderbilt. The passing game, like I said, I think there were some outside voices drawing up some of the route combos and route combinations. Just looked better. Guys were open, and Mertz is not seeing that. So for him being as good as he's been, he has been better than what I thought he would be at Florida, and he has outplayed the you know not hype, but what everybody the expectation basically for him at Florida this year. He's been one of the more consistent guys in the league. But again, the completion percentage doesn't tell me anything. Florida's offense has been dink and dunk. We have got to be explosive. We have got to hit 20-plus yard passes. You know, three or four of those a game would be nice, guys. I mean, it's just not going to get the job done on the road. You've got to get some big explosive plays and touchdowns. You can't sustain 100-yard, 80-yard drives every game, especially on the road when it's loud. You've got to be able to hit some of those big plays. And you saw what happened in Kentucky and Utah. That's what this offense will give you when you can't be explosive. So that's going to be the key. We got to get healthy. Trey being in this game is going to be a factor. They do have to respect him, even though the orbit motions are not fooling anybody with Ricky Pearsall. Trey Wilson, they do respect it. It does make a difference in the offense. Arliss Boardingham really is a game changer. If he can consistently do what he did Saturday and keep that momentum going and build on that, I like Florida on offense even more because this offense does feature and is supposed to have an elite tight end, and it has had zero of that last year or this year. And it's kind of sad to say this, but the only reason he's on the field is because of injuries to Xanders and some other guys owed him. Hanson's been playing. He's been terrible. The other guys are just better blockers, and that's why they're on the field. But I think they're making a mistake by doing that. That's why I say, Billy usually does play the more talented and the younger guys that are his guys. But for some reason, there are times where I feel like there are guys that should be playing that people are like, oh, he's on the field. Well, it's only because someone's hurt. Well, Boardingham, I feel like should have been he should have been on the field day one, starting at tight end. I know he can't block; his blocking grade is atrocious. But pair him with somebody like Hanson, like I said, that can block, or design more plays for him just on passing downs. That really, like I said, made Florida's offense more explosive against Vanderbilt. Comparatively at the points total thing, what I was saying, a lot of other teams scored in that same range. We were almost to 40, about 30 something to 40 something points against Vanderbilt. Is what Kentucky did. I think they scored 45. So we were right there in that range, which was a good sign for the offense. I thought that was good because, Vandy's defense is actually worse than Charlotte's. Statistically, they are atrocious. This game does not tell me anything and should not tell y'all anything about Florida. They did what they should have done against Vanderbilt. It was nice to avenge the loss from last year, so really happy about that. We should never be losing to Vandy. Another caveat, I don't think a lot of people realize this, Vanderbilt wasn't even playing their starting quarterback. Ken Seals played against us a few years ago. I mean, solid guy. He's not terrible. So, the fact that Florida did what they did was nice to see. He has no mobility, but he can throw it. The other guy, Schrader, was a lot better. He looked great against Hawaii in game one. He could throw the ball a lot better. They do have an elite wide receiver. He did get a couple on us. Like I said, we gave a few touchdowns. Those were those explosive plays. That's going to happen with young guys on the field. Not too concerned about that. With this kind of defense, you're going to get a few of those. We held Vandy their lowest point total of the year, I'm pretty sure. I think their lowest outside of the Florida game was 21. So man, that was great to see. Like I said, the defense is just rocking out. They just got to get the job done on the road. Everybody, it seems like on the road, those two games we lost, 30 something points to Kentucky, 24 to Utah, which again should have been a good enough performance in game one for Florida to be able to win that game with the offense and the talent we have. It was pretty sad that we couldn't do it. But right now, 4-2 before the season. If you ask me, would I take 4-2 with the wins and losses we got? Absolutely. Win over Vanderbilt, two cupcakes, and a quality win over a top 25 Tennessee team who still only losses to Florida. Absolutely, I would take that. Lost to Tennessee last year, didn't beat any of our rivals, so we've already got one win over a rival this year. Kentucky is becoming a rivalry game. It's just sad to say they are on equal footing with Florida now. I mean, they do have talent. They've done well in the transfer portal. They play good defense. But again, they were gettable. That was a very beatable Kentucky team. Even with this Florida team, it was doable. Florida still has more talent, regardless of what people are saying. If you look at the high school recruiting rankings, Kentucky averages probably in the I'd say 20 to 25 range. Florida averages 10 to 15. So looking at South Carolina, like I said, the key to the game: get a turnover, hold South Carolina to under 17 points. Florida is going to have a tough time. Their defense is not good. Florida should be able to score on this South Carolina defense. They are pretty banged up, but they're coming off a bye week. Florida has a rough stretch here. Like I said, guys, in order to have a winning record in a good season, a winning season, 7 to 8 wins, this game is a must-win for Florida. They're a weaker team on the schedule. They're a very beatable team. We're more talented. They don't have a good defense. this is a game that Billy has to go get on the road. It's going to get harder, guys. The bye week comes up. We get a chance to get healthy. We're not beating Georgia. So that's another L. That puts us at 3 losses. And it's just tougher from, like I said, LSU looks like a really tough game. They have no defense, but they can score in a hurry. Florida does not match up well with LSU, so that's likely 4 right there. FSU does not look like a win as good as they've been this year. That's 5. So 7 wins is the more likely outcome. You're going to have to surprise some people and be able to, just play exceptionally well. Missouri's another one. Missouri looks extremely good right now. Almost took out, should have beat LSU. That's on the road. The next 3, I believe those 3 teams are all coming off a bye before they play Florida. So everybody knows, y'all know it, I know it. This game is a must win. Got to get that 5th win in order to be able to even set ourselves up for 6 somewhere in that last stretch to get to a bowl game. I think anything less than 7 is a disappointing season. If you get 7 wins this year, I'm still proud of Billy. I'm proud of this team going from 6-7 to 7 wins this year. 1 more win, some more quality wins, obviously, if we get any of the rest of these games. I'd be happy with, beat South Carolina, get LSU and Missouri, and you win those 3 games, I'd be plenty happy with that. Even if we lose to the other better teams, because those games are winnable for Florida based on talent, based on what we've seen so far this year. But like I said, right now I cannot pick Florida to beat South Carolina this weekend. If Florida does look and play well on the road this week, I will be changing that tune. That might change some of my picks on the record, as well as some of the games going forward the rest of the season. But until they prove it on the road, still picking South Carolina. Go Gators.